Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance for the first time in a little while, and today we're going to be looking at two awesome, cool new weapons. So let's just go right into that. So these are going to be two mods. One is a Yew Longbow replacement, and the other one is the Queen of Sheba's sword replacement. So both of these are very, very simple mods, so they're not going to hurt your game. So anyone who's worried about corrupting their save, these ones are very unlikely to do that, because all they do is replace the existing model for the Yew Longbow and the Queen of Sheba's sword. As far as I can tell, the stats for the Yew Longbow are not altered by this, it's just the appearance. But the Queen of Sheba's sword is altered. It gives it a higher durability and a higher charisma. So the damage remains the same, but the Queen of Sheba's sword already had a pretty good damage. But now it's a way more durable sword, and it gives you a sweet charisma boost. So let's just take a look at them. So for starters, you may be able to see that I've got on sort of a longbowman outfit. I decided for this video that I'd throw together a kind of English longbow feeling outfit, and this is pretty close to the average I was able to find. Now there's a lot of variation that I was able to find in historical sources for English longbowmen, especially around this period, ranging from almost full plate armor to very, very bare bones, basically just clothing and a bow. But this was pretty average. You would see a coif, some sort of an open-faced helmet. Oftentimes it would be a bassinet style or a burgonet, but you know, we don't really have any of those in this game, so we're going to go with the bassinet. Usually, if they had any armor on their torso, it was a brigandine like this, so this actually fits pretty well. Very rarely did I find any with a lot of mail, especially on their torso, and especially any with long sleeves. I found a few where they were wearing mail vests, or a few where they were wearing short sleeve mail shirts, but most of them just had a brigandine and a padded gamson. Like I said, they would have that mail coif, and it would cover their neck. They would have a mail gorget sometimes, like just to make sure that their neck was safe, but other than that, not a lot of mail. And then there were a lot of sources where they were wearing leather gloves, and a lot where they were not. Maybe they had finger tabs or stuff like that, but I figured the gloves would be nice. Van braces obviously are pretty common amongst archers, especially newer archers. Not much leg armor on these guys. On a few of the sources I was able to see mail on their legs, or in some sources different types of plate or plated chosses types armor, but in a lot of them it didn't. It looked like they liked to be pretty light, which makes sense considering the longbowmen were known to shift formations and move around the battlefield as needed. So they liked traveling as light as possible, and the legs from where they were standing and behind the fortifications that they would usually try to be, the legs were usually protected. So I went lightly armored on the legs, just with padded chosses and then leather boots. Kind of a little armor guide there. If you want to look like an English longbowman in the game, this is actually a pretty decent outfit for it. But other than that, we have our Queen of Sheba's sword, which as you can see looks quite a bit different than it normally does in the game, and our Yew Longbow, which looks way different than it normally does in the game. First of all, it's just much bigger, but the texture looks a lot different. And I only have one problem with it, and I could talk about it right now. If you look right behind Henry's elbow here in the picture, and I'll probably be able to zoom into it outside of this screen, but you can see that there's a knot right there in the bow. You wouldn't have that in a real longbow. A knot is a weak point in wood. So if you're using something where it needs to be structurally sound, which obviously a longbow would need to be structurally sound, you would never use a piece of wood like this with a knot right there in the bow, because that's going to be a weak point, and if this bow is going to break, it's going to break right there. I get it for aesthetic, appearances. It makes it look more natural, but you wouldn't make a bow out of something like this where it's got a knot in it. You would want clean, straight grains. Other than that, it looks really cool. So let's just take a couple more looks at it. I mean, before we pop into that, we can just pop in here and show you. So the durability on this, I think it used to be 12. It's up to 80 now. So it's much more like a regular two-handed sword. And the charisma, I think, was 18 before. Now it's 20. So we've got a full charisma and durability up nice and high. And interestingly, the mod author, who is just KAF1 on the Nexus. I will actually have both of these mods linked down in the description, so if you want to check them out, I definitely recommend it. The links will be there. But he actually designed it to have more of a proper two-handed grip, because most of the quote-unquote two-handed swords in this game actually are closer to what would look like maybe a slightly long bastard sword grip, a little bit more than what you would see from a historically accurate hand-and-a-half sword. So this one actually looks like it's got that looks like a proper two-handed grip, so it's pretty long, which gives it a really unique look. But we could just take a peek. So if we zoom out, first of all, that outfit looks awesome. It really does sell the longbow look. I think it turned out really well. I was going to go with the kettle helm, because quite a few of them would wear kettle helms, but I found way more examples where they wore pretty simple open-faced helmets like this, so that's what I went with. But there's the sword, and you can see the scabbard, I believe, looks exactly the same as it normally does in the game, so the scabbard doesn't appear to have been changed, except for to be sized with the sword. But there we have the sword. As you can see, it's got a pretty complex crossguard, way more so than most swords in the game. And the hilt actually has, like, you can see the leather patterning in it. Now, I don't know how much you would see that in the game if you weren't zoomed in like this, but you can actually see it looks like real leather, or rawhide, whichever one it is. And then, of course, for the pommel, we've got a pretty interesting design. This is decently historically accurate. I was able to find a couple examples from the early 1400s with pommels that looked a lot like this, so this is not something that would be uncommon. I mean, it's pretty big, but other than that, it looks right. Then we have, like I said, the longbow. It's definitely a very girthy boy. As you can see, it's a pretty thick longbow. I have a few problems with it. Like I said, that knot in there is the biggest one, because that's something you would just definitely want to avoid. But also, it's not very smooth. As you can see, it's got kind of squared off edges, and I don't know if that was intentional by the mod author just to make it look more rustic. But honestly, I've handled examples of historical longbows, and I've seen tons of artist depictions of them and, you know, other things, and they were always very rounded, very smooth, because you want it to sit naturally in the hand, and obviously that rounded shape is going to give it more strength. Any squared cornered edges like this, those are going to be stress points. So like I said, when making a longbow, it's not going to be squared off like this. But in any case, it does look very cool and definitely adds, I think, a little bit more variety to the game, because as is, the longbows in the game are kind of short, honestly, and they don't vary enough. They're really just different colors. So with all that in mind, let's test out these weapons. We're going to start off with some long-range attacks to see if the people of Radzig can face off against an Englishman. Had to fire a warning shot. I don't like shooting people in the back.
My God,
There we go. Didn't miss that time. That legendary English longbow power. I won't.
Help! Over there!
We relocated to a slightly more rampage-friendly spot, so we can actually get some action out of this longbow. We'll test out the longbow, get a couple people with it, you know, teach these Bohemians what an Englishman with a longbow can do, and then we'll go test out the sword. See, if anyone's wondering where the best rampage spot in Radzig is, this is it right here.
What's the matter? Come on!
You'll soon be stopped.
You! Stop right where you are!
So there we go. We took out a few guards with the longbow. Now, I think it's time to give our long sword a chance.
What the hell?
First thing I did with it was bash it against the wall. Very nice. Might have been a better idea to pair this sword with a nice suit of plate armor for this part of the test, but it's actually performing quite well. And I'm really enjoying the sounds it makes. I think we're running out of strength, boys. And there it is. So, like I said, definitely some pretty decent mods here. Links in the description. Let's take one more look at them here. Yeah, so these were made by, like I said, it's CAF1, or KAF1. I'm assuming it's supposed to be CAF1. Again, super easy mods to use. I'm really not worried about them corrupting my save, so stuff like this I utilize pretty frequently. You know, weapon replacement, armor replacement mods. If you want to install these, it's very simple. All you have to do is download the files manually. Then you extract the files, and you copy the file itself into your mod folder in KCD. So that's usually in like disk C, then program files 86, Steam apps, common Kingdom Come Deliverance mods, and you just pop it right in there, and the next time you load up the game, you'll be able to get it. As for where you can get it in the game, the Yew Longbow can be purchased from Huntsman Bertold, which is going to be up in the upper castle of Verte. He's the huntsman up there. And then the Queen of Sheba's sword, if you already have it, the model will be updated. And if you don't, you just do the Queen of Sheba's sword quest, which can be done from Swordsmith Fink in Sasau. And if you don't know where all the pieces are, I actually have a video showing where to find each and every piece for that sword, so it's very simple. But once you've completed that, you can get the sword from him, and boom, you've got it. Either that, or you could use console commands to just spawn the items in. But what's the fun in that? So again, like I said, these are made by CAF1. I think they're really cool. They add a lot of variation to the game that I think the game actually could really benefit from. So I definitely recommend giving them a try if you're playing on PC. But in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.